Today's video is an extra special one. It's dedicated to someone who's always been my inspiration, my guiding light, my mom. Now, she passed away earlier this year, and I never got to say goodbye. It was sudden, a cardiac arrest, and by the time I rushed home, it was too late. My mom was a woman of incredible strength and generosity. And despite our trying conditions growing up, she was always there for others, always lending a hand to those in need. On the 5th of July, 2023, she would have turned 62. So in her memory, I offered 62 free consultations to GEPF members. Now, the response was overwhelming. I ended up doing 83 consultations in July alone. Now, I'm Devanaika, and I specialize in solutions for GEPF members like yourself, needing help on deciding whether it's better to retire or resign. And what I learned from these lessons is that there's a desperate need for quality financial advice among GEPF members. It's heartbreaking to see the mistakes that are being made by members and mistakes that have long-term consequences. One of the saddest cases was a member who lost over $587,000 in tax. And the worst part is this could have been avoided with better advice. But that's not all. It hasn't been all doom and gloom. I was able to help one member with a saving of over 1 million rand. And let me tell you, there's nothing quite like the feeling of saving that kind of money for someone. So in today's video, I want to share with you 3 crucial lessons that I've learned from these consultations. I'll be covering how I saved a member over 1 million rand, a real life case study with a member where my guidance helped this member save a tremendous amount of money. Secret number 2 is the costly tax mistake that could have been avoided and would have saved this member $597,000. Now, it's a painful example of what the lack of proper financial advice can lead to, and very importantly, how you can prevent it. And secret number 3 is how to protect your money from the markets, a crucial strategy that I believe every single member must be aware of. So if you're a GEPF member considering retirement or resignation, stick around. This video can save you a lot of money and a lot of heartache. Now, I want to first start this one by showing you a quick picture of my mom. So this is my mom. And then we can now get started into the video, right? Because I'm doing this one in memory of her. This picture, by the way, is when she turned 62. Okay, so let's get started with the lessons that I want to cover today. And the first of which is going to center around how I was able to help this member save over 1 million rand. Now, I've said it in previous videos. It is essential that you want to get your planning done a lot earlier. Now, notice it doesn't matter what your decision is, right? Whether you are aiming at resigning or if you are aiming at retiring, that's at some point in the future. The secret that I want to share with you is you want to start this planning as early as possible. So let's say now is when you want to start the planning. Ideally, you want to leave about 3 years. Now, I'll give you the case study for this member so that you can see the advantage, right? This particular member started the planning with me, and we actually have a 5-year time horizon. So we have a 5-year time horizon. Now, why this is so essential is one of the greatest challenges that I've observed with members is it's extremely difficult to build trust. Extremely difficult. And I see this with virtually every single member that I engage with, because chances are, if you're watching this video, you've already got a financial advisor or financial planner, or maybe you've taken some type of investment or policy before, and perhaps something is not right. So that trust element is not there. Also want to bear in mind that if you are aiming at retiring, if you're aiming at resigning, not retiring, maybe the reasons for you wanting to do this is a lack of trust in GEPF. You see, you don't trust GEPF enough to hold on to your funds. It could perhaps be a reason. This is one of the things that I see common amongst members. Now, your next step is you want to see who can you trust with investing this money. So by starting the planning a lot early, this gives you an opportunity to start to build trust. So what was the case for this member? Very simple. He had a number of insurance policies that he was paying significant amounts of monies to, right? And I'll list that in here. These are his insurance policies. And perhaps you have the same, right? Could be death benefits, disability benefits, illness benefits. And as you move closer towards your exit age, right? We'll call it your retirement age or your resignation age. Notice what happens. The elements that you needed, what you needed before, you might not need a lot of it going forward. So let's take life cover, for example. You might have needed a lot of life cover initially when your kids were much younger. But as you move closer to retirement or resignation, the need for the cover reduces. It tends to do this because your kids have now grown up. So the need for cover is no longer there, or might be a lot less. Maybe you've settled your bond, so the need for cover starts to reduce. So when I was engaging with this member, one of the elements that we started to go into was having a look at his insurance policies. And inside there, we found a significant amount of saving. That saving alone over the 5-year period between him and his spouse ended up getting to over R1 million. So this is how this had transitioned, right? How I was able to create it. But that's not all. The next thing that I was able to do for this member is I started to have a look at what's taking place in terms of his existing investments. So he had a retirement annuity that wasn't really performing as well as what he expected it to be performing at. So because of him reaching out to me a lot earlier, I was able to start work on this retirement annuity, have a look at what exactly was causing the problem, and then create a solution. Now I'm going to share a bit more with you when I cover the third secret, right? What I want to tell you here or impress upon you is in order for you to get some type of saving right now, you want to start that relationship early. You want to start your planning early. And notice when you do this, it does not matter if you retire or resign. By starting to plan early, if you start saving some money now, it makes your retirement a better retirement. If you save some money now, it makes your resignation a better resignation. So it does not matter which route you take. Starting to plan now, creating some type of saving will then propel you so that you lay a great foundation. And whichever route you're going to work, whether it's retirement or resignation, it then can be a lot more successful. So that's the first secret that I want to share with you. Now, I'll cover again more when we go into a private consultation if you're reaching out for assistance, because then I can start to see exactly what's happening, what are the elements that you're paying for, and how can you generate some type of saving. Now, I'm not saying to you that you're going to get the same amount of saving. Maybe you can, maybe you could get more or less, but what if you can get some type of saving? Wouldn't that be helpful? So next secret that I want to share with you is how a member could have saved over 597,000 in tax. Now, here's the problem. This member had opted to resign, and that's not really the problem, but because resignation can work well if you get the right guidance, right? The problem here is the member had bad advice. And what I want to share with you in this particular segment of the video is, even though someone might have the title of financial advisor or financial planner, it does not necessarily mean that they know how to give you the right advice or how to do tax planning. I'm going to say that again. Just because someone has the title, it does not mean that they have the ability in order to create the tax saving for you. So when you are reaching out for some type of financial assistance, you want to check to see if the person is skilled at the elements that you need help with. Meaning, is this person able to provide good quality tax planning advice? Is this person able to provide good quality investment advice? Is this person able to have a good understanding of GEPF? Are they able to understand your specific situation and create something that's specific for you? Now, in the case of this particular member, the problem is when the member had opted to resign, a lot of tax planning was not done. And because it was not done, it led to the member ending up paying a lot of money in tax. Let's start to have a look again. I'll do this one very quickly at the process of money, how money flows, and what are the things, or how can you leverage resignation? Because there is a difference between retirement and resignation. Notice that if you are aiming at retiring, if you are aiming at retiring, the benefits are all predetermined, meaning GEPF will tell you the lump sum that you'll get as a gratuity. You can't adjust it, so in a way you're sort of forced to pay the tax. If you are retiring, then GEPF then tells you the amount that you're going to receive as a monthly income. You can't really adjust that, which means you have to pay the tax that's according to that scale. Whereas if you are looking at resigning, there are many opportunities for you to adjust this so that you can start to pay the least amount of tax. Let's quickly spend a bit of time on it so that you can understand and get a bit more clarity. So notice, here's your pool of money that's sitting here within GEPF. That's where all of your capital is sitting, right? And it doesn't matter how much is in there. Let's use in my example, 6 million, just to make the math look easy, right? Now, one option is you can have all of this money paid out in cash. And as I've shared previously in videos, if money is getting paid into your bank account, this is when it's going to be taxed, right? The alternative to this is you could have all of this money transferred over. So you could take all of this money, you could move over to an approved fund. Now, please ensure that you don't make this mistake. The approved fund for this particular member was not the right approved fund. So you want to make sure that you understand the options. Preservation fund is not the only option that's available. So you want to know what your options are and get something that's suited for you. And when you move money over to an approved fund, because there's no money coming into your bank account, guess what? No tax. So you get the structure done correctly, there's no tax on that money that's getting moved over. Then in addition to that, remember, you can't sit inside of the approved fund, so the money has to move out. When you're moving money out, now you are entitled to take the 1/3. The key difference here, and this is where the tax saving can come in, is the 1/3 is actually up to. It doesn't have to be a fixed 1/3. It's up to 1/3, which means you, with the right advice, you can adjust this in order to create tax saving. In addition to that, if you have over 25 years of service, it means, or if you have the pre-98 tax benefit, that means you've got an extra tax advantage and you want to make good use of this. So again, if you're consulting me for a private one-on-one session and you've got pre-98 benefits, I'll be able to show you how you can get to a point where you get to see how much you have in pre-98 right to the last cent. In addition to this, you can invest the balance here, and the balance is going to be invested for income. Now, when you are investing that 2/3 and you are earning an income, remember all of that capital is moved over to an insurance company, which means there's no tax. So notice how I'm showing you everything that's happening. It's just when money is coming into your bank account that tax applies. Now you're investing here for income, and guess what? That income is going to get paid into your bank account, and because it's paid into your bank account, it's taxed. So notice what I've shared here. I'll do a quick summary. Money that's moving over, it's going to get taxed if it's coming into your bank account. If you move into the approved fund, there's no tax. When you're taking the 1/3, there is tax because it's coming to your bank account. However, it's up to 1/3, meaning if you get good quality financial advice, you can actually reduce this. I've helped scores of members bring the tax to zero here on the 1/3. Then in addition here, the 2/3, with whatever's getting transferred, there's no tax because nothing's coming to your bank account. However, you're going to start to earn an income, and that income is taxable. Again, you can create provisions in place in order to ensure that you're paying the least amount of tax, right? Notice what's happening as I shared with you previously. If you are here now, your decision, and if you're aiming at resigning, it's still a while away. So because you have time, you haven't really paid the tax, which means your goal is, if you're not sure how to get proper tax planning done, you just need to ensure that you're getting to a financial advisor or someone like myself, a GEPF resignation specialist, someone who understands tax and can create the tax planning solutions for you. Now let's go with secret number 3, quite an important one, because I get this question all the time. Am I going to run out of money if I resign, right? And in this secret, I want to share with you, how do you protect your money from the markets? Now, when it comes to doing any type of investment, I'm going to draw this one so that I can illustrate this nicely for you. And I'm going to refer here to your 2/3 capital, right? So I'm referring to the 2/3 capital that you have, because this, I'm assuming, is the question that you have in your mind. Is this 2/3 capital going to run out if you are aiming at resigning, right? And let's go understand the components behind an investment so that you start to see everything that's taking place. Now, usually, and this is one of the mistakes, so please don't make this mistake. Usually the focus is to try and figure out what type of return you get, right? Meaning, where do you invest this money? That's usually the first thing that I notice. Please don't focus here. Don't make that mistake. It's got nothing to do with the fund, especially not in the beginning. You don't want to start there because we don't know what the markets can deliver. You agree? And you know that markets can ebb and flow. So you know this. Markets can do that. It can be unpredictable. So what you want to do is you want to start to control or look at the things that are within your control. Meaning, down on this end, you are going to be taking an income from your investment. And you can control that income. So you can optimize that, you see. If you take too much, it could put your capital under pressure. If you take too little, how do you manage through the month? So again, the role behind someone like myself, when you're getting to a specialist to help you with your resignation, you want to find a way in which you can create some type of balance. So that's how you can optimize the leg here. In addition to that, you're using an insurance company. And because you're using an insurance company, the insurance company, are they going to do this for free or will they charge you a fee? Yes, naturally, they're going to have some type of fee. So again, you want to get an idea as to what is that fee going to be? How much is this? Are you going to get good value? And here's the secret. What you want to then do is you want to look at what's the income, how much is the fee, you want to add this. When you get this total, then you start to have a look at where can you invest? Where can you invest money so that you're able to get more than that? So let's use an example just so that I make all of this make sense to you, right? Let's assume that your income is 5%, just using an example to make the math look easy, right? And the fees are 3%. So notice you've got a total here of 8%. Now you want to start to focus on where can you invest money to get 8% or more. See how easy this is? Right? You want to start in a backward way. Whereas what I see happening very common is members are being given advice to focus on the fund. And let's say a fund delivers a return of 5%. Might seem very good in the beginning. However, if your income and the fees are higher than what that fund is delivering, this is what creates the problem. So again, heading back to the first secret that I shared with you, right? You want to start testing this out early. You want to start testing this out early, like what I've done for this member. We took his retirement annuity, invested it into a better strategy, and we started monitoring the investment on a regular basis. So when we started to do that, it then put him in a position where he can start to see money growing. And then it makes the journey a lot easier. So the same I'm suggesting to you. If you can create some type of strategy right now, some type of investment where you're testing your investment, could be with a small amount of money. I'll use an example. Let's say you're running a test with 100,000, just to make the math look easy. Again, if you're testing an investment out for 100,000, you then start monitoring that investment on a regular basis. It then allows you an opportunity to see how the markets would perform, and you're running a test here because maybe at this time you have 6 million. So what you're doing by starting your test early is you're not taking a risk with your entire life savings. You're taking a risk here with a small amount of money. You're testing it to see how good it is. You're testing the advisor, you're testing tax, you're testing investment planning. So I hope this has been extremely helpful for you. I've covered 3 quick secrets so that you have an understanding as to some of the mistakes members are making, as well as some of the potential that is available for you. If you need further assistance or there's a particular video that you want me to cover, post a comment below so that I get to see that. And also share with me from the 3 secrets I've shared with you, which one is most appealing for you. And very importantly, what are you going to start doing right now in order to protect your future and make sure that you're making that most important decision, which is, again, whether you should retire or resign from GEPF. I'll see you in the next video.